D, wait for it, light bulb.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I just finished Superman and Lois, the penultimate episode of this season. And so next week is the season finale. And I'm quite excited about it because I'm telling you what, I enjoyed this episode very much. Now, it's really late at night, so I'm not going to be all like crazy energetic and everything just because A, I'm tired, and B, I got two kids that are sleeping and I do not want to wake them up. But I just want to say real quick that I have enjoyed this season so far very much. I think that this is probably, you could argue that this is the best CW show ever put out. But this is definitely one of the best. It's so good. And I think that, compared to other CW shows, that this one is very, very like way better than some of the rest of them. I think it's just because like they have like a really good story and they're just kind of sticking to it, and they're not getting bogged down with stupid stuff like, like identity politics and stuff like that. They just have a story and they're sticking to it. And I think it's really great. And I'll get a little bit more in depth, with my breakdown. And then, when I do a season review. But I think that this episode, I think that, again, the action, they're spending some money on this show, which I personally appreciate. And I think that they're focusing on the emotional part of the characters that I really enjoyed a lot. I mean, you get so many different feelings going on with each character that you're just like, who do I connect with? And I think that's really, really great about it too. And I think that they've also written characters that I think that are just very normal in the sense that like they're everyday people like you and I. And I think that that's why we relate to them. And, they're, and like the family kind of dynamic and everything. And just, everybody in this whole thing wanting their place, where they belong kind of thing. So now that I'm done rambling, why don't we go ahead and get into this episode? So it starts off, if you remember correctly, Morgan Edge escaped the DOD, and now he's in front of the sun, just eating up all those rays and everything, and he's becoming the Eradicator. Now, I mean, I pretty much knew what was going to happen in the last episode when he was in front of the sun and everything. So he's becoming the Eradicator, and this is from the comic books and everything. So he's getting all these images and past images and stuff of him. And then we zoom to 3 weeks later. Sorry, I'm gonna try not to yawn, but it's late. Okay. So we're at the Kent farm and they're discussing, and they're like, what happened to Edge and why is the DOD here and everything still. And they're sitting here talking, and Jonathan is all like, I'm going to go work with John Henry, Steele, and he's going to help me. I'm going to help him with building the hammer or fixing the hammer or whatever he says. And you're like, should you really be working with that kind of stuff? And he's just like, I want to do it. I can't remember exactly what he said, but his dad's all like, you're making too much sense. Go on. So then these two are sitting here talking, and the hardware store shut down in town, and people are losing their businesses. And they're all like, Morgan Edge left this place worse than he found it. And so then they're also talking about Jordan had mentioned that Lana Lang is her and her husband have put their house up for sale. And so he's in here and he's like, oh, your dad, he can hear her dad. And he's like, oh, he's mad about something. So then they put in the paper a story about the DOD and being still in Smallville because people are upset about it because they're still there and everything. And he's all like, I wanted to calm them down at the town hall meeting, but how am I going to do with you putting out stories like this? And she's like, people need to know. And he's like, I can't tell them. And he's like, and then he's sitting here arguing with her, and he's like, I can't keep this. Am I fighting to save the world, or am I fighting to save my family? He's like, because I don't even know anymore. And she's all like, Dad, she's like, that was unfair. And he's like, not now and everything. So then Clark goes over to Lana's house, and he knocks on the door, and he's all like, I'm here for the open house. And she's like, come on in and everything. And they've got their fun little banter or whatnot. And then, long story short, he's all like, you really can't leave. You're a part of this town. You're, what my mom was to this town. And she's all like, she's like, when you left, you needed a fresh start. And maybe that's what we need. And he's like, yeah, but when I left, I was a kid and everything. And she's just like, she's like, we're going to go. And he's like, I'm going to miss you. But he doesn't say that stuff. And she doesn't say that news. And then Sarah's sitting here and she's like, oh, your dad just struck out and everything. And he's like, you're not worried about it. And she's like, no, we only got one offer and it was crappy and everything. And she's like, nobody wants to buy this place. People are leaving this place. And so they kiss and everything because they have their little banter. And the sister finds them and she's all like, I'm telling mom. And then Sarah goes after her and everything. So then Jonathan is in the barn with John Henry Irons, and John Henry Irons is working on the hammer. And he's asking him a bunch of questions. He's like, hey, what did I say about asking questions? He's like, you said don't ask them. So that's right. So then he sees the little bug thingy on his armor. And he's like, what's that? And he's like, my daughter put that on there. And he's like, oh, she helped you fix this? He's like, yeah, or work on this? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. And he's like, it's cool. She was 14 years old. She watched her mother die on national TV. She spent, the last days of her life in a bunker. And you think that's cool? And he's like, no, I'm sorry. And everything. And he's all like, I just want to help. And he's all like, well, I ain't got nothing else to teach. He's like, you need to go. And so he leaves. He's being a real big jerk to him, but at the same time, I kind of understood, he's got a lot of issues going on in his head because how does he keep going in this world where his family doesn't exist and the people that do exist in his family, it's different. So then she goes back, Lois goes back to the Gazette. And this woman, I don't remember her name. She is like, I had to put that paper out there. And she's like, no, you need to put that paper out there. And she's all like, you're the right person to answer or ask the right questions at the town hall. And she's like, that's the thing I wanted to talk to you about. She's like, I'm selling the Gazette. I got an offer and it's a big conglomerate. And she's like, no, they will tear this place apart. It's exactly what you don't want, kind of thing. And she's like, if I don't do it in a month, I'll be, drowning in debt, kind of thing. So she's like, I can't turn this offer down. So then back at the Sun, Morgan Edge has fully become the Eradicator. That's going to be my thumbnail. That's a good picture. I like that picture a lot. Anyways, so then, and then these two, they go to the town hall. So they're sitting here talking in there. And she's talking about how what's her face is giving up the Gazette, and he's talking about how Lana is moving, and things are changing. So they go into the town hall, and people are rioting. Look at these small town people with their weird little signs. Like whatever. Justice for Smallville. That's funny. Okay. So anyway, so then they're like, oh no, and everything. So then back at the Lang house, Lana is having second thoughts. I'm so sorry. And she's like, Kyle, maybe we should move. And he's like, I'm going to go get my stuff from the fire station. He's like, we talked about this. We need a fresh start, kind of thing. And she's just like, all we built here. And he's all like, it'll be okay. And she's like, yeah, you're right. We should still go. So then back at the diner, these three are hanging out. Buddies come in. They're like, hey, his parents are gone. We're getting a keg. By the way, getting it. You know what the problem with these TV shows is? I'm sorry. I don't know about you, but getting a keg in all these shows, they act like it's so freaking easy. It's not that easy, you guys. It's not that easy. I mean, yes, you can get an adult to buy it, but I mean, like, I'm sorry. It's not as easy as everybody makes it out to be in these shows. Like, oh yeah, you got a keg. And I want to just say right now, a keg is not that much when you get a buttload of people. All right. Cause I've been to plenty of party in my day. And like, I remember going to a party where there was a one keg and I got one beer and it was like this much. And then because there was so many people there and it like went like that and everything. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's a little bit, far-fetched. Anyways. So then they're sitting there and he decides he's going to go. They do not invite Sarah. This kid, he like does not, because this is the kid she was dating at the beginning of the season. He basically says like, hey, Sarah, don't come, without saying it. And she's like, he's being passive aggressive. And he's like, I won't go if you don't want to. And she's like, no, you need to hang out with your brother. And besides, I got to do princess night with my sister. So she leaves. They're sitting here and they decide to go to the party. So at the town hall, Lois is all like, I'll help you. And he's like, good. I was hoping you say that. So then she sits down and everything. And the mayor announces everything and they're all like, this woman stands up and she's like, when are you gonna get out of our town? They're like, yeah, and everything. And he's all like, as soon as the threat is over and we've got all the ex-kryptonite out of the mines. And she's all like, well, what? And they're all like, what's in those mines? You're just taking it for yourself. And he's like, no one's profiting from these. And Clark's all like, hey guys, let's just hear them out, kind of thing. She stands up and she's asking her a question. She's like, what was Morgan Edge doing? And he's like, I can't answer those questions. And she's like, is Morgan Edge still in custody? And he's like, I still can't answer those questions. And Lana stands up and she's all like, Morgan Edge is not in custody. He escaped. And he's all like, that's why we're still here, because we need to make sure that he doesn't come back, kind of thing. I'm paraphrasing all of this, by the way. I don't remember exactly what they said. Okay. So then that woman, I didn't get a good oh, there she is. She comes in and she's all like, they know how my son died and I have proof. And she's got like a letter in her hand and everything. So we go back to the fire station and Kyle is cleaning up all his crap from the firehouse. And this woman comes in. I do not remember her name. Doesn't matter because she's like but she's all like, you remember when I wanted to be on there and everybody told me they didn't want me on here because I'm a woman and a black woman at that. And she's like, you stood up for me. And he's like, because I knew you were awesome and they didn't see what I see. And she's like, yeah, I was hoping you'd help me turn that around about you with them. And she's like, the fire chief in Bristol called Bristol. I remember that. And I told them they'd be lucky to have you. So then back at her prison, there's a lot of oh my God, and oh, and everything. And they what's his face comes in and breaks her out. She's all happy. Look how happy she is. What a little like minion. She's all crazy. Anyways, so then back at this town hall, this woman's all like, I have a letter from the DOD. And it's signed by you. And I just want to be all like, lady, that's not proof. That's just a piece of paper with his signature on it, you know? And he's, I have proof. I have a letter. So stupid. But I feel bad for her. I know she's a character, but I just have a feeling like that's somewhere in real life where, you know, like people just come up with these like crazy things at these town halls and they say stupid stuff and you're just like, are you serious right now? Anyway, so you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so she's all like, I just and this is the part that I felt bad for. She's like, and he's all like, we still don't know how your son died. We're still trying to get it down. And she's all like, I just want to know how he dies, and then Lois pipes up. She's like, I'm really sorry. I know how you're feeling. She's like, you haven't lost a child. You don't know what it's like. And I just want to be like, no. And she's like, all you keep thinking is, what could you have done to stop this? And I just wanted to smack her and be like, you know what? Lois did lose a child. Okay. So you need to shut your face because you don't know what you're saying right now. But she's upset and everything. I get that. Sorry, I have something in my eye. And so she's upset. That's a weird screen grab. I wonder how to grab that. And she's just like, I just want to know. She just wants closure of what happened to her son. And I get that, I have 2 kids, and everything. So I understand that. And I understand loss and all that stuff. So I get this woman's frustration, but a soldier comes in and tells him that Morgan Edge is escaped and everything. And he tells Lois and he's like, we got to go. And she's like, no, I need to know. And they're all like, she deserves to have an answer and everything. And they leave. And it's good looking. And they're all like, get out of our town. We want answers and everything. And they start chanting and everything. They're little chant, we want answers or something crap like that. I don't remember. Anyways, so she's like, you need to get back in there and you need to give those people's answers. He's like, no, I'm not going to get back in there. We got an issue, Lois. She's like, they're scared and everything. And they're like, Morgan Edge escaped and we don't know where he is. And then Henry Irons is all there. And they're like, can you find where they are? And he flips open his helmet. And he's like, they're in Metropolis. So then back in Metropolis, they're at some park or whatnot. And she's just standing there when he's floating above her and everything. And then they get there and this guy says like, is that Morgan Edge flying? And she's like, yeah, and everything. So they're sitting there and Superman and Steel. I'm just going to call him Steel because saying John Henry Irons like every single time, it's just going to get annoying. So they show up. Then back at the party, they get there. And they're like, oh, hey, you guys made it. Yeah, party time and everything. He's like, hey, before Superman and Lois go to Metropolis, they're all like, will you get the boys and get them back to the farm? So then he calls Jordan's and he's like, just don't answer it and everything. He's like, just be a normal kid for once. Guys, if your parents call, if you're like a youngster, just answer the phone call. What's the worst that the grandpa could have said? Oh, get back home because there's a psycho that might come and get you. So I mean, like, come on, like sometimes kids in shows are just not smart and everything. So then this girl's all like, hey, can I talk to you and everything? And I would have been like, no, you stupid hooker. You played me before. No, play again. Unless you want to play with something else. You know what I'm saying? Dirty. Anyways, so then Lana's baking a pie and he comes home. He's like, listen, I was thinking maybe we should stay here. And she's like, yeah, we build roots and all that stuff. We're staying. Yay. And then he gets a phone call and it's the Bristol chief. And he's all like, hey, you want the job and everything? Good for him. So then they're having a good time. And then he comes in, he's like, hey, we want to talk to you. And they're like, we're moving to Bristol. And she's like, that's 2 hours away. He's all like, well, I could become chief of Bristol. And she's all like, you brought Morgan Edge here. This is all your fault. And the mom's all like, hey, don't blame him. She's like, I blame you too. And she's like, you two are both just so stupid and everything. I know that part's like, it's I guess it's needed, but like at the same time, you're just like, ugh, I don't care. Get to the good stuff, this stuff right here. I mean, I do care because like I know this stuff is like very soap opera and everything. And I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just stupid when you're like, get to the fighting. I want to see these fuckers punch each other. So they show up and she's like, your friend doesn't have any part of this, Kal-El, and everything. And I'm like, lady, come on. He brought back up. Okay. There's two of you. There's two of them. Come on. Then stop it. He's a part of it. Anyways. So then he's all like, she's all like, they're sitting there talking, and then he's like, I got 4 more Kryptonians because they're all like, how are you going to destroy this? There's just 2 of you and everything. So these 4 people just pop up out of like a Houdini trick out of the crowd, and they fly off to go destroy stuff. And I'm like, yay, party time and everything. So then he comes up and everything, and they're flying. They're all like sitting there flying, everything, get thrown into some buildings. He's flying after these 2 little psychos, and he's punching and punch. I didn't get very good screenshots here of this fight. Anyways, doesn't matter. So this guy pops in and everything, and I really, I liked this part right here. This guy's sitting on the phone, and then he looks out the window and you see them coming at him. And I liked seeing the perspective from a civilian, because if we let's be honest, if superheroes really did exist, you wouldn't be a superhero. Okay. People like us would probably not be superheroes. So like, we have to be honest with ourselves. Okay. So we'd probably just be normal human beings and everything. So it was good to see this guy's perspective of Superman flying towards him. And he's all like, and everything. And they fly through and everything. Good thing he didn't die. I'm glad. So then Steel is fighting off this chick, Laura. Anyways, doesn't matter what her name is. Look at that face right there. So good. And he blasts her off and everything. And then he's got a hold of her, but then he gets shot by the one of the other Kryptonians that they made. And then we go back to the party, which I'm all like, stop going to this stupid party. And by the way, I just want to say right now, I went to some parties in my day. This one is very well put together. I mean, like, I don't know. Anyways, so then these 2 are talking, and long story short, this girl's all like, I moved here from Central City, and my dad went to prison, and my mom wanted us to have a fresh start. And he's all like, you never told me that. And she's like, yeah, everybody just thinks I'm a stuck-up bitch and everything. And he's like, yeah, they do. Let's make out. They didn't make out, by the way. And then Sarah shows up and she's all upset and she's like, we're moving. And then so they turn on the TV because there's, somebody gets a text or some crap like that. And they see this stuff and they're seeing it going down. And Lois goes up to this rooftop where this woman is recording stuff because she goes up there to get some good footage. And I liked this, by the way, I liked this part very much because it was a callback. It's so good. So then she's like, you got a microphone, let's do this and everything. So she gets up there and she's like, this is Lois Lane coming to you from Metropolis, where Morgan Edge has turned people into super villains and they're destroying the city. And then, and Clark is fighting these 2 crypto psychos and everything. He goes underwater with them, which I'm all like, who helped you beat him up? Aquaman, that'd be cool. Anyways, I'm just saying. So then and he's trying to get the hammer to come to him, Thor style, but he can't do it because the kinetic thingy is broken and they need 90 seconds. And I was like, 90 seconds is like so much time in a fight. Like I think that's how long a fight would be. Because if you've ever been in a fight, don't get into fights for one, because they suck. They suck so much. Oh, I hate but they don't last very long. They last like 30 seconds, especially if you're the one getting pummeled. Like you're just like, can you please stop beating my face? Anyways, so then he's fighting this guy and she's sitting there. And then all of a sudden she comes up behind her. And I was like, oh, this is such a good callback to the other Earth where she died and everything. And then he's all like, Jonathan, and he's like, that's how she died in the other world and everything. And they're watching their mom about to like be like incinerated, and she's all like, look at like, oh, this is so good. I was, when I saw this scene, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. This is such a good scene. Like they did a good job here. So Jeremy Irons, he gets his hammer back thrown to him and he throws it at the dude. And he's all like, you missed. And then she's sitting there and I'm all like, no, he didn't, and everything. She gets her eyes all ready. And then the hammer comes in and bam, knocks her into the building. It was like, oh, and everything. And they're like, he just knocked her out and everything. And then she goes back and she's all like, take cover and everything, because you don't want to get killed by hammers flying all over the place and stuff. So then Superman comes out of the water with these two, and then these two are like, they go to attack him and they get knocked back. I just want to point out, if you look at this, that is not Tyler Hoechlin. I just want to say that right now. That is a stunt person. Look at that. That's not even his face. Anyways, so then they're all like, what was that? And he's like, we didn't even get near him. And then the Eradicator flies off. So then this thing is going on right here with this news thing. And then she's all like, basically she's like, the long distance relationship is never going to work. We're just going to hate each other and everything. And we're just going to hate. And I love us, the way we are, but it's just not going to work out and everything. And he's upset. Well, Grandpa shows up, Grandpa Lane, and he's all like, hey, get your butts in the car. We need to go now. And he's like, please don't tell my parents. He's all like, yeah. Oh, he's like, can you tell us what's going on? He's like, yeah, because I'm going to tell some drunk teenagers. It's classified information. And so then he's all like, can we please take Sarah home on our way there? And he's like, yeah, let's go. And so then back, I'm assuming, sorry, it's so late right now. So then back at the DOD, these guys, they get all these guys and they're like, what's Morgan Edge doing? She's like, isn't it obvious? He's making more and everything. And so then we go to the car. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, he's going back to Smallville. And then he lands in front of their car. It smashes into him. They get into a car accident and everything. And then Jordan, he's like, there's a kryptonite gun in my glove compartment. So Jordan gets in there, he points the gun at him, he's like, now shoot and everything. And he shoots, but he flies up and he misses, kind of thing. So then Jordan gets taken. He like comes to the side of the car, pulls Jordan out. And then he's all like, Jordan. And then he takes Jordan. He's all like, you need to go to your house, get your dad and everything. I think he was just doing that so he could get rid of her. In fact, that's what he was doing. And then he's all like, get the EMT thing, whatever it is to call Superman. So he finds it. And then they're all like, where do you think Morgan Edge is and everything? And then all of a sudden, Superman hears the thingy and he's like, it's the boys and everything. So he flies off and he lands. He's like, Dad. He's like, what happened? He's like, Edge took Jordan, and he's like, you have to find him. So then he flies up, and I like felt it, like the emotion of this scene, because if your child was taken, I would be freaking out. Like I would be freaking the F-bomb out, like no joke. I like how I said fuckers earlier, and then now I'm saying the F-bomb. So stupid. And so you look at it, that's some good face acting right there, because he is freaking out. So then he throws him down. He's all like, what do you want from me? And I'm like, dummy, come on. And you know what gets me is I didn't like Jordan at the beginning of this season. Like I hated his character because I thought he was such a pussy and such a whiny little bitch. But now I really do like him. He is a good character. Like I flipped the switch and everything, but they made me like him because he's developed into a person that is not whiny. So then he does his little Eradicator thing, and he's shooting him with the juice and everything. So then he's flying up and he's doing his little twirly and he can't find his son. He can't find him. He can't hear him at all. So then he lands and he's like, and I loved how as soon as he lands, he's like, Lois and everything. So good. So good. She's like, what happened? And he's like, Edge took Jordan. And she's all like, well, you go and you find him. And I like got a little water eyed because I was like, oh my God, I'd be freaking out. And he's like, I can't. She's like, what are we and she's like, no, you need to find him. He's like, I can't. And she's like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, that just like that hits the heartstrings and everything. I was like, I can't deal with this shit. So then back at the power plant, Eradicator is pumping him full of the juice. Give me the juice and everything. And he gets done. And then that's a funny screen grab. Anyways, and he stands up and he's like looking at his hands, everything. He's like, well done, my son. We have work to do. And I'm all like, ew, he's that gross dude from like his dad. His dad is so ugly and gross and everything. So he's obviously got the personality of his dad, which I was like, ugh, what a gross personality to get. I'd want somebody besides him. Like, I'm like, but I think what's gonna happen is with him is he'll do like Superman did with Zod. He'll just get rid of his personality and then Zod won't be around anymore. I mean, this dad character won't be around anymore. I'm not 100% sure if they'll get rid of Edge, but I'm assuming they will now because he's not Edge anymore, or Valor, or whatever the frick his name was. He's the Eradicator. So yeah, so I can't wait for the next episode. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good, you guys. I really did like this episode. I thought it was really, really good. I love this show. I think that the people writing this show are doing a good job. I know they've had problems with that stuff, and I'll talk about that when I do a season 1 review. But I really do like this season a lot, and I really did like this episode. I think that it was just really, really good. I liked the fact that you know, they put some money in it and there's like some fighting and everything. I don't know. I just really, really like this episode and I really love this show. And yeah, I can't wait for the season finale next week and everything. So tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? You know, how do you feel about the season so far? What do you think is going to happen in the season finale? And who is your favorite character? Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week for my Superman and Lois breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.